Hi everyone, Eric Johnessy here at Thrive Accounting. We've been getting a ton of calls asking how to book our PPP loans, how to book the EIDL loans, and also questions surrounding forgiveness. So today I'm not going to talk a whole lot about those programs, but if you do have questions, please reach out. What I'm going to cover here is how to book these in QuickBooks so that your accounting is straight. So I'm going to start with the PPP loan. We're going to make a deposit just like any other deposit. This isn't involved with accounts receivable, so I'm canceling out of here. And you pick your account that you're putting it into. So if you set up a new savings account, you could put it directly into that. It depends on where the money was first put in. So if it went into your checking account and then you move that money, you want to deposit it into your checking and then you'll do a transfer. So for purposes here, I'm going to go ahead and select checking. We're going to say it happened on the date listed. Received from, there's not a whole lot of practical use to put this in here. We're not receiving a bunch of deposits around this, so I don't need to create a customer for this. This first one, we're going to be creating 3 new accounts here. This first one is going to be our SBA PPP loan. Now, this is a liability. We are hoping and intending that this gets forgiven. But in the meantime, the paperwork that you're signing with this is saying that it is a loan, and if it is not forgiven, we do owe this back. So we're picking long-term liability here. Even though we plan on this being forgiven less than a year, because the loan paperwork says that it's more than a 1-year loan, we pick a long-term liability. The same as for a car, an installment loan, things like that. Credit line might be a current liability, but here we're going to pick long-term. I'm going to hit continue. It's going to take me to the next screen where I confirm all of this. I don't need a description. I don't need an account number. It's pretty self-explanatory with what we have there. So I'm going to hit save and close. And here I'm just going to say the same piece. I'm going to say these are the loan proceeds. These are electronic deposits, so there's not going to be a check number. If you have one in here, you could say it's an electronic. I don't personally track a whole lot of stuff. I don't have a great number of clients that go back to this information. If they were customer payments, absolutely. Something like this where it's a transfer, I don't care about. And because this is hitting a balance sheet account here, we don't need to put a class in here unless you're tracking classes by balance sheet, and that doesn't generally work real well within QuickBooks. Again, questions, reach out, happy to help. So we can leave all those blank, and we said that we got $50,000 in. So I'm going to save and close just as normal. So if I go rather to my balance sheet, and I looked at this the day before, and there are other transactions on the 15th in this file, but we were about 109. You see it's changed. So there's other things in there, but that transaction hit the bank account. And down here, we have this new liability account, the SBA PPP loan, showing that we owe it. So when someone looks at the books, yeah, we have more money in the bank account, and yeah, we owe that money. Note that this did not affect our profit and loss. It is not earnings to us. So it sits on there until we get to the forgiveness stage. So that's how you book the PPP loan. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the EIDL. Same process here. There will be a little bit different process on how we handle this month to month because that one's going to be long term. But we're going to go ahead and make deposits. Checking again, skipping receive from. This is going to be SBA EIDL loan. We're going to set this up. We're going to go to long-term liabilities. And again, I can leave all of those blank. And here's our SBA EIDL loan proceeds. Leaving these all blank too, and we're going to say that we got 100,000 in here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save and close. So if we go to our checking account, we're going to see down here at the bottom, these 2 items on 12/15 that both increased the balance. We are also going to see down here the EIDL and the PPP loans respectively. Also, they show on the balance sheet right down here, and it affected our checking account, which is now up at 249. And up to now, nothing has affected the profit and loss. This is just, we entered these on 12/15. There are some transactions in there, but as you can see, there's certainly no $150,000. That won't happen until something's forgiven. So that's how we record the EIDL. The third step, we talk about forgiveness here. Now, this might not all be forgiven. We're hoping that it is. We're hoping that we meet the criteria. And so in the meantime, we are also going to accrue interest. So we don't know what those look like yet. I haven't gotten statements showing showing the interest accrued, but even if the full principal amount is forgiven, we are still going to owe the interest on it. So I'll do another video once I get some of those statements and I can see exactly what it looks like. I'll put one up on the screen and we'll go through this together. For forgiving it, that's where it hits the profit and loss. So I'm going to go back to our chart of accounts. Essentially, I'm going to be making a journal entry, but we don't need to go through that actual process. I'm going to just go to my liability account. Now note, I may have interest booked in here once I get that, but let's say that on 1/31, in this case 2025, because the sample file is post-dated, and let's say that instead they only wrote off 47.5. This is the third account that we're going to be creating here. So we're going to say PPP loan forgiveness. We're going to set this up, and this should actually be an other income. And I'll explain that in a moment on why. But an other income PPP loan forgiveness for 47.5. So what that would do, once I save this, it would show that we still owe $2,500 on this, plus of course whatever interest is not yet booked. So looking at the balance sheet as of 12/15, it's still on there. If I skip forward to the end of January, where I went ahead and booked the forgiveness, you'll notice down here, the EIDL loan is still at $100,000. The PPP loan is at $2,500 because that matches what we have over here in the register. The other side of that transaction, it went ahead and hit the P&L. So if we look just at January of 2025, I go ahead and I see, I'm going to back this up to give some perspective. So I'm now looking at January through the following January, 13 months. So we have all of our regular income and whatnot. Down here under other income is where we're showing the 47.5. It's important that it be separate. And the reason for this is it's not going to be taxed the same as here. There are different taxabilities for different types of income. Technically, what I have read so far is that the expenses that you pay that are being forgiven, you don't deduct those, and that offsets by the forgiveness. So we may have to do another entry when this stuff comes around, but the net effect of it here is that we have this PPP loan forgiveness broken out. Our Oregon corporate activity tax is a good example here. A lot of people, if they're putting it up here under revenue, if you're subject to that tax, if your revenue is high enough, then you could end up paying CAT tax on the PPP money. And we certainly don't want to pay more than we need to on that. So we put it separately here. Everything is booked there. So that's how we record the forgiveness when the time comes. Now we're going to have to manage these loans, and so you're going to be booking interest, you're going to be booking payments, especially with the EIDL loan, because the EIDL loan is a 30-year loan at 3.75%. You can certainly pay it off sooner, but we are going to have to manage that just like any other installment loan. If you have questions about how to do that, let us know. We'll get it set up properly for you. If you have not yet filed for these, the EIDL still has a little time. The PPP, it closed on June 30th. On July 8th, I believe, they opened it back up for another month, and it is closing again as of August 8th. We do still have a couple contacts that are granting these loans. So if you have not yet done this and you feel that you want to, even if you're self-employed, I've had people that are one man or woman shops that have filed for this and have been able to get some money to get them through. You can still do that. So reach out and we'll point you in the right direction. So thanks for your time today. This is Eric Johnessy of Drive Accounting. Thanks a lot.